This video, Mindfulness, is about learning how to cultivate peace of mind in your daily life, and in doing so, becoming best friends with now. Being fully present and deepening your sensory awareness of what's going on within you and around you is quite simply the most effective and gentle way of connecting to your innate well-being, the place from which your wisdom and happiness flows. We'll start by looking at what mindfulness is and why it's such an important part of your personal and spiritual development. We'll unpack how being mindful gives you access to your most resourceful self. We'll make an important distinction between meditation and the meditative state, and I'll introduce you to the silent observer that stays with you everywhere that you go. The purpose of becoming more mindful in your day-to-day life is to cultivate a calm and wise mind and to free yourself from the mental clutter that can cloud your judgment and prevent you from experiencing life as peacefully and as joyfully as you're able to. Mindfulness has been practiced for thousands of years in many Eastern and Western spiritual disciplines, and more recently, studies in neuroscience have consistently shown that when practiced regularly, it can even be as effective as any antidepressant drug. My definition of mindfulness is that it's the act of purposefully paying exquisite attention to your experience of the present moment without judgment. That means deliberately raising your consciousness, tuning into your senses, and simply observing the now exactly the way it is without wishing it to change in any way. In essence, it's where you shift your focus away from the act of doing towards the state of being. In a world where it's all too easy to get sucked into the illusory pressure of the demands and expectations that are placed on us, either by others or even by ourselves, it can be difficult to bring our most resourceful selves to the table. What mindfulness does for us is to strip away the confusing layers of pressure, judgment, opinion and spin, and to remind us of the ultimate truth of life, that beyond our thoughts, we're already peaceful. That there really is nothing wrong with us, and that we have innate love and well-being as our essence. The more able you are to just be with and accept each present moment as it is, the more deeply aware you become of the fact that stress does not exist in the reality of now. What bubbles up is an increased feeling of connection to the energy of life, not only within you, but to everything around you too. From this place, you open up to your deepest inspiration, your wisdom and your authentic happiness. You're free to experience your unconditioned self, a bit like doing a factory reset, and despite what you may have been thinking or feeling, you can see that the world is still perfect just the way it is. It's widely recognised that practicing mindfulness increases our capacity for empathy and compassion, which are the powerful emotions that drive our desire to be of service and live purposeful lives. As we see the beautiful truth about ourselves, we begin to see it in others too, even if they don't see it in themselves. So rather than continuing to judge them, we naturally see them through the eyes of loving kindness. And rather than wanting to change them or control them, we give them the gift of our understanding and patience. One way to achieve a mindful state of being is through meditation, which is partly why I've created a meditation to accompany each of the zones of this course. Meditation is the disciplined process of sitting or lying in a quiet spot, focusing on your breath, releasing tension and letting go of your thoughts. Through this practice, you can find yourself grounded in the present with a heightened state of awareness and connection to the peace of the now. Meditation is a hugely beneficial practice when incorporated into your regular routine, but it's by no means the only way to experience mindfulness. You don't have to undergo the formal act of meditation to achieve a meditative state. In fact, when you can bring the essence of the feeling of meditation into your normal day-to-day consciousness, that's where you can start to see your world through very different, more resourceful eyes. Mindfulness is like a waking meditation, where you go about your usual daily business, paying close attention to the immediate experience you're having, where you have a heightened awareness of all of your senses as you're doing it, and where you have a quiet and non-judging mind. Zen master Thich Nhat Hanh, a renowned teacher of the practice of mindfulness, encourages his students to walk as if you're kissing the earth with your feet. The beauty of mindfulness is that it can turn even the most mundane activities into rich sensory experiences that lead to peace of mind and contentment. On the surface, it's an extremely simple concept. Just pay attention and don't judge. But it's called a practice for a reason. Developing the ability to enter a mindful state quickly and effortlessly is a skill, and as with any skill, it's helpful to start with easy exercises. So here's an easy exercise for you to try. Grab yourself a piece of chocolate and hold it in your hand. Look at it. Observe its colour, its shape and its texture. If it's in a wrapper, notice what the wrapper feels like in your hand. You might hold it up and see how the light catches it in different ways as you turn it between your fingers. Without thinking about it too much, just notice as many different things as you're able to notice about it. What does it smell like? Take time to be really curious about all its different qualities. And then slowly pop it into your mouth and let it rest on your tongue, and experience it as if you've never tasted chocolate before. What part of the flavour comes through first? Gently move it about in your mouth and notice how it feels differently in different parts of the mouth. Just let it dissolve at its own pace and pay attention to the changing sensations as it does. How does the flavour and texture evolve? Stay focused until the chocolate has completely melted and you're left with that sweet aftertaste. All the time just letting your mind be as quiet as possible and realise that you've not just eaten chocolate, you've had the experience of it. Being mindful in such a simple way is a great training ground to bring the same principles of mindfulness into other, more important aspects of your life, such as dealing with unhappy emotional states. When we feel bad, our instinct is to want to think ourselves better. We mistakenly believe that the answer to removing anxious feelings is to talk ourselves out of them. But more often than not, interacting with the emotion in this way strengthens it, or at least makes it last longer than is necessary. But by becoming mindful and just acknowledging the way that you're feeling without judgment or wishing it to change in any way allows the natural energy of the emotion to play out more quickly and to dissolve of its own accord. And then the energy of your innate well-being rises up within you to take its place. I've mentioned a few times in the course that a key principle to understanding the way we experience life is to know that we feel our thinking. For as long as we breathe, we'll continue to think, and the answer is not to try and stop it or control it. But as we get curious and pay close attention, we can realise that there's a silent observer in each of us. I wonder if you can find that part in your mind that right now is just observing you, watching and listening to this. Because the more you can identify and hang out with that non-judging, silent observer within you, the more you're able to see through the illusion of your thinking mind and cut straight through to the wisdom and well-being that resides deeper within you. So the next time you hear your internal dialogue going off on a negative tangent, you and your silent observer can smile kindly at it, much in the same way that you might smile at a naive child. And know that the only voice worth listening to is the voice of your real inspiration. That will help to get you back on track and to guide you in knowing what to do next. So your exercise for this session is to dedicate at least half an hour to mindfulness every day over the next week. You don't have to change your routine in any way. Just make a decision that in whatever you happen to be doing, you'll do it with deliberate and purposeful awareness and a peaceful acceptance of what is. Coming up next is the last video of the Create a Wonderful Life e-course. So what better way to finish than to identify the small day-to-day actions you can take to keep you in the space of living your very best life. It's called Daily Nourishment for the Soul. So when you're ready, I'll see you there.